So my first slide, you'll probably wonder why you've got a guy showing you the oldest wine bar in London. It's not quite as old as the Met Police, but it's only about 60 years later. Probably started because the police wanted to drink lots of wine in there, because most of them do. So Gordon's Wine Bar. Not only that, but Eric will be absolutely shocked to hear that I'm an accountant as well. So sorry. So innovation can start in the most surprising places. I started FaceWatch because I got fed up with people in my wine bar having stuff stolen from them. They're stealing laptops, handbags, wallets, phones, all sorts of things. And it's all this low-level crime that really affects us on a day-to-day basis. So what Martin's dealing with is the high-level stuff. We steer well clear of that. We don't have anything to do with that. We stick to low-level crime. But these are the bulk of the crimes. And also, once people get onto the life of crime, they start to move up to more serious things. They start taking drugs, and the whole thing becomes a vicious circle. So we started a company called FaceWatch. I started it with a group of colleagues. We've been going since March 2010. And this, I think, could genuinely change the world and make it a better place, which was the initial, the initial aim. And not only that, but it might make us rich as well. But that's a secondary aim, really. It started off as a simple little thing just to report crime to the police, because the whole process that the police use is very, very outdated, very inefficient. They have to come out, they have to pick up discs with maybe an hour of footage and maybe 16 cameras, because someone said, oh, I had my bag stolen sometime between 8 and 9. Then they've got to try and look at that. Half the time their computers are so old they can't read it. Then they have to try and find a tiny little crime that might be only happen in about 20 seconds out of an hour of footage with 16 cameras. It's an impossible job for the police, and we don't do enough to help them in that. But if we get them the evidence in the right way and in the right format, they should be able to then solve those crimes. So FaceWatch is all those lines that connect to all those different balls there. We've tried to show, or spheres, we've tried to show how our business works, because a lot of people can't get their head around it initially, because we give FaceWatch away free to businesses. We give it away free to the police because we know they've got no money. Businesses won't pay for it because why should they? Because they pay their rates. We also give it away free to the public. So we don't charge anyone for the basic crime reporting system. But we get revenue from all the other people that supply people who are on the FaceWatch system with different services. So it's a classic sort of internet model. But just to go through a couple, CCTV manufacturers, we're about to come out with something in the new year, which I'll come on to later, which is a first CCTV system linked to FaceWatch. That will generate a small amount of revenue from each box sold, and then we'll link up all the other systems as well. So eventually there'll be revenue from there. Going to the middle at the top there, we've got monitoring stations. This is going to be a major change. It's going to be very, very helpful for the police counter-terrorism guys, because currently 95% of all CCTV is sitting on DVRs and boxes within premises. When the police have a murder or something, they come along and take the DVR away. And then they take it back and they try and analyze it. That means you've no longer got CCTV in that place. So if anything else happens, it's a problem. It's hugely problematic for everybody. Monitoring stations in the future will be taking all the CCTV from premises, and they'll be able to report crimes online through FaceWatch in a professional way. So my bar staff, instead of having to be people that know how to cut CDs and things for CCTV, can simply phone up our monitoring station, say to them, we've got a crime, it's camera 5, log into that. They'll log into it, they'll be able to see what the customer looks like. The customer can talk to them on the phone and say, yes, my bag was here. They can do the whole crime report, gives them an instant crime reference. Then they'll be kept informed by email every time anything happens on their crime, so they're fully involved in the process. They can also chase up the officer involved online, so they know who they're dealing with. And then they can also phone Card Protection Plan, who'll cancel all their credit cards immediately for free, or phone up their phone company and cancel their SIM card and so on. Down at the bottom, we've got police suppliers on the left-hand side and security services. And public sector, we're working with the MOJ and the CPS on linking them, helping to link them all up. We've also got on the right-hand side different companies who are providing services into the sector. So some people provide intelligence services. You've got security guards who are carrying handheld devices, and we're connecting them all together. So ultimately, the security guys with their handhelds, the police with their handheld devices, their mobiles will all be connected. So you could get to the stage where a police officer is walking down the street on his mobile says, oh, you've just walked into the Charing Cross Pub Watch group or the West End Shop Watch, and it can tell everybody that this officer's in the area, and if they've got any issues, they can immediately correspond with them rather than going via 101 or 999. So it's connecting everybody together. So the Face Watch isn't even shown on there, it's just the lines. What does it look like? It looks a little bit like any modern site that's got news feeds, posts, a little bit like Facebook type of experience. But it's all secure. You're only allowed into this if you're part of a group, if you're part of a business and you work for a business and that business has been accepted as a group. So it's trusted groups and communities. And the trouble with crime today is that the communities no longer exist. They've got too big. Sorry, I'm just looking at my time here. Yeah, so the whole thing's too big. We don't have those local villages and local communities where the police officer knows the kids, knows the bad kids, and they can give them a cuff round the ear when they first start stealing to stop them, and it stops them in their tracks at the beginning. What happens is these kids just can get away with I won't say murder, but they can get away with anything, and it slowly goes up and up. So all sorts of stuff, but also very importantly in here, it makes the police accountable. Now the police are paid by us, and if we give them the evidence online and we help them with solving the crime by giving them exactly what they need to solve it, then we should expect a result. That information is relayed to them online through FaceWatch instantly. At the moment, it takes probably 3 weeks before it's actually being looked at and dealt with. These criminals are just laughing. They're running around all of us. We all work in silos. We don't share information. We all talk about Data Protection Act and all sorts of things. So FaceWatch does away with all that. Everything's pretty much instant. And also businesses can share images between themselves to stop crime before it happens. Because we're not trying to lock people up and have loads of crimes. It would be much better if you could actually say to someone, hang on, think about it, don't do that. We've got loads and loads of clients already. We've only been going to just over 2.5 years. We've got over 4,000 users, some really big names starting to come onto this. And it's really starting to motor now. So all these businesses have major problems from theft. Everyone has problems from theft. At the moment, nobody shares information because they all like to think, it's bad for our brand and all that stuff. So I need to move on because they don't like their brands being shown for very long. But we all suffer from it. Recently, we announced a partnership with Crime Stoppers. And also, this is supported by the Chiefs of Police. And we've got great support, although quite often I stand up and sort of criticise the police and say that, that they work in the dark ages, which they do, but they sort of admit that, and they've now been forced to change, and they are grabbing that with both hands. Commissioner Bernard Hogan-Howe is fantastic. He's really excited about what FaceWatch is doing, and he talks about it wherever he goes, and he's really helping us to get it out there because he knows that unless everybody gets involved, the police are never going to save that 500 million. So lastly, I just want to talk about a few things that are coming up with FaceWatch. We've got a version 2 coming out in January, which is the new look that I showed you, which is simpler to use, all built around APIs so that anybody can link their systems into it and do stuff with it as long as they're entitled or allowed to look at that particular data, because obviously it is data sensitive and it's all fully data compliant. We've got a DVR coming out which is from Honeywell, and that will link straight into FaceWatch. So at the moment we use a screen recorder, so you just upload the moving footage, the relevant moving footage to our system. So it's like a screen grabber. You just drag a little box over and it records what it sees on the screen. So it works with any CCTV system in the world. There's no hardware involved with FaceWatch, it's just a system, an online system. So Honeywell DVR will talk directly to FaceWatch. And we're going to be adding more and more, and so ultimately we'll have all the CCTV systems on FaceWatch. There's a personal crime reporting app coming out in January, which I'm hoping, if anyone from the Mayor's office is here, because they won't reply to emails at the moment because they're all so busy, but we're hoping that Boris will launch that. That will enable anyone in London to report the theft of phone, personal effects, straight from their mobile device, get an instant crime reference, say if they want the police to call them or not, rather than the current situation where everybody's dealt with as if it's a serious crime. My daughter had her phone stolen and had reported it online, and she had 3 police officers phoning her up separately, 20 minutes at a time. She didn't want to speak to a police officer. What a waste of time that was. It would be much better if she could have said, I would have liked to have an officer call me because I'm actually really upset about it, or victim support. But let's not waste the police time. They've got a really difficult job to do as it is. We're coming out with another app for the British Transport Police, which will enable you to upload evidence of carriages and things being smashed up. We're also coming out with some professional versions of the app, which will be for the police and for security guards. These are all that's being produced by third parties, basically, because we're not trying to do everything. We just created the network and the links to the police, so other people are building those. Another one called Student Watch, where there's a huge interest in that because bikes go missing, all sorts of stuff on there. And also, we've already got an endorsement from the president of the major city chiefs in the US, and I've spoken to the chiefs of all the major police forces in the US at their closed conference, and they are very, very keen to get moving on FaceWatch. So I think FaceWatch could genuinely go global. It could be a massive, massive output from the UK, something completely innovative. We've got what's perceived as the best police force in the world, and we have got the best police force in the world. We have very few shootings then compared to the US. Everybody respects us. If we can prove it works in this country, this will just go global very, very quickly. So thank you very much.